Hello, once again, everybody, and on behalf of the All-Star Football Officials Association Training Committee, I'd like to welcome you to our fifth video for the 2021 season. I want to apologize. Skipped last week. This should be video 6, but skipped it last week. Had a technical issue. To be honest, it was a time management issue on my part. Wasn't able to get you anything last week. I apologize, but we're back at it this week. Something I want to hit on majority of the video is going to be about is clock, play clock, game clock. I'll talk about it for a little bit. Then I believe it's 3 plays. We'll go over 3 plays real quick and go from there. But try and keep it a little bit shorter than usual, and hopefully keep everybody's interest and try and get you to the end of the video. All right, main topic this week. I want to spend a good amount of time talking about play clock, game clock, expectations, and some of that stuff when it comes to the play clock and the game clock. Very important. Remember, if we've got a visible play clock, we will have a play clock operator there. And each school is different. Sometimes they can stay up in the press box or have to, whatever it is. Sometimes they're down on the field. Whatever the case may be, let's make sure going into the game, referees obviously call, make sure play clock's working, they hadn't had any issues, and find out where they're going to be up in the press box or on the field, especially as we get a little bit closer. Starts to get cool. If they're going to be on the field or it's going to be raining, we'll make sure they have the appropriate attire for situations that may come up like that. So that being said, also radios, play clock, game clock operators, please make sure if you're sitting side by side up in the press box, that's one thing. Maybe one of you has a radio. Whatever we got to do, we need to make sure that our referee and our field judge or back judge and a crew of 7 is able to communicate with the play clock and the game clock operator. Again, we have signals to start it and stop it, but there's plenty of times where it's just easy to say, hey, need 25 or need 40. That way you're not having to look around for, is it the referee signal, is it the deep guy signal, and all that kind of stuff. So, again, very important we have radios. Honestly, it's more important that the play clock and game clock operators have radio than it is the umpire, to be totally honest with you. So, guys, please make sure we're able to communicate with those guys, and it'll just make things a lot easier. So I've used this. You can see this kind of diagram right here, cheat sheet, whatever you want to call it, 40-25. But a couple of the main things I want to go over, and I'm talking about the play clock here, is, again, a couple of rules of thumb. One, if we just have a dead ball in bounds, it's first down, he gains 3 yards, tackled in bounds, 40. Remember, play clock operators, it's not as soon as his knee goes down. 1,001, 1,002, 1,003, somewhere around there. Then we start the 40-second clock. Officials, make sure we're giving good signals now. Good dead ball signal. You go up. He knows we're in bounds, whatever it is. We're not stopping the clock, anything like that. 1,001, 1,002, and we're going from there at 40. But again, that goes for most plays, whether it's in bounds, out of bounds, just a regular play, which are basically these top two here, 40 seconds. Incomplete pass, 1st and 10, incomplete. 1,001, 1,002, 1,003, 40. Same thing goes for first down. 3rd and 5, he runs for 10 yards, 1st and 10. Count to 1,003, we're at 40. So now where we get to 25s, obviously you can see going down through here, and I'm not going to go through every single one of them, but I do want to talk about the injury and the helmet off. Because anytime we're stopping the clock basically for anything other than first down, you see a teammate awarded first down, we're stopping the clock for the first, but we're going 40. Anything else, penalty administration, charge timeout, you see measurement, all this, tries, field goals, extra points, all that, kicks, we're on 25. So let's make sure we know this going in so we don't get confused. We're not putting 40 seconds up for a kickoff or something like that. Let's make sure we know these by heart and that we know the difference between 40 and 25. All right, real quick, talking about injuries, and this is not just for play clock operators, for the whole crew, especially the referee. Remember, if we have an injury, just a normal scrimmage play, we stop the clock, we've got a guy injured. We need to know, is the injury on the offense or is the injury on the defense? And I'm also talking about helmet. Helmet off goes hand in hand with the injury here. So helmet comes off. Is it on the offense or is it on the defense? So if it's an offensive player, helmet comes off, we're going to stop the clock, or an injury, we're going to stop the clock. We're going to put 25 seconds on the play clock, and when we're ready to put it back in play, we're going to wind it because we're dead in bounds. We're going to wind it. We're going to do 25, and we're going to go from there. If it was the defense, say a defender, we ended the play, we stop the clock because there's a defender with his helmet off. We're going to stop the clock, make sure we get him to the sideline. We're going to reset it to 40, make sure he's where he needs to go. We're going to reset it to 40, and then we're going to fire the game clock back up after that. So hopefully that makes sense. But remember, injuries and timeouts on the defense, we're going to set it to 40. Injuries and timeout on the offense, we're going to set it to 25. So please make sure we're communicating that. Because the play clock operator may not know. He may not know why the clock stopped, especially if we're quick or it's on the sideline or something like that. So please make sure we are communicating that. Again, we're talking about visible play clock, but if we don't have a visible play clock, let's make sure, again, because the field judge at this point would be in charge of all that. So make sure he knows, again, very important to have a radio, make sure he knows who the helmet came off of, make sure we're communicating whether we're 40, 25. As far as the game clock goes, again, same thing. Let's make sure we give good signals, and that's what a lot of this depends on. If we've got an iffy something on the sidelines, maybe he was tackled inbounds, maybe he got out of bounds, and we just go up and give a dead ball signal, we haven't really done anybody any good. So again, remember, if we're tackled in bounds, wings, make sure we wind it twice, so that we know we should keep the clock running. If we get out of bounds, make sure you ain't got to do it 50 times. Make sure we get good, crisp signals so we can see. Make sure we get the clock stopped. And we communicate not just, through signals, but also after that, if we're out of bounds, referee comes over, we clean everything up, say, hey, we're out of bounds, we're on the snap. Out of bounds, we're on the snap. So communication is key there. Let's make sure the game clock is very important. Game clock, play clock, we've got to stay on top of that, especially under 2 minutes. Don't forget that rule. Under 2 minutes in the second quarter or the fourth quarter, you'd be surprised how many times it comes up, but under 2 minutes second quarter or fourth quarter, we give the offended team, if there's a penalty, we give the offended team the option, if the clock is running, to stop the clock and have it start on the snap. Remember, that's the only option they get. If the clock is stopped by rule, it's going to start on the snap. They do not have the option to start a stop clock, only to stop a clock that would be running on the ready for play. So please keep that in mind. Again, it's just a good refresher. Have this right here. Whether you're a play clock operator, referee, or short wing, deep wing, just look over it, make sure we know what we're doing, especially as we get into some of the region games, we start putting playoff crews together, the clock becomes very important. You guys getting evaluated, that's one of the things clock management it's not an automatic disqualifier, but that's something that'll set you apart. If you got great clock management, that'll set your crew apart from the rest. So let's make sure, again, we've got radios, we're communicating, always thinking about the clock after every play, or especially if we have something funny going on, a lengthy delay, let's make sure we know, at least somebody out there knows the status of the clock at all times. All right, so in this play, what I want you to notice is out here, this defender right here, and then this lineman here, the offense. What happens, just watch the action by these two right here, pre-snap. We'll go through what we got. Now you see right there, had a little bit of a jump there, and then we had a false start here. But I want to back up. What I want to talk about is, do we have a false start or do we have something on defense? So we play it through again. Right there, you saw right there. And I'm sorry you can't hear it, but you see the action right there. So, yes, obviously when this guy moves, we have a false start, right? That wasn't a shift, and he's a lineman, and anyway, he doesn't have his hand on the ground. He's not on the end. So anyway, go through all that. He can't. He's pretty much locked in here. He can move a little bit, but that was pretty. You saw the action by him. That was pretty abrupt. Not right there, but see right there, that little shoulder turn, that's pretty abrupt. But let's talk about what caused him to do it. Obviously, he moves, we shut it down. Right now, everybody's saying we got a false start. Flag from the headlines and flag from the umpire. But let's go back and talk about, did this action right here cause him to move? The answer is yes. Not only did he do that little jump right there, but he also, which you can't see, it's not quite as tight, as he yells go, which is what they were using right here, HUD or whatever it was. So not only does he move, he yells something, and that's what caused this guy to jump off sides. Now, do we flag it if this guy doesn't move? Technically, yes. When he does that, that is a foul, because the only reason he's doing that is to try to get them to jump off sides, right? Same thing when the offense on fourth down comes together and shifts out real quick. Same thing. We don't give them any leeway. If they shift out just trying to get 5 free yards, we don't give them any leeway. So when we see something like this was a really good catch by the umpire, by the way, because over here, headlines ball, he had his false start, and again, he can't hear it. He can't hear any of this going on, but the umpire did. He heard him yell go, and knows that's what's caused the false start. So he comes in and communicates that with the referee, and they get it. So don't forget, when that happens, that is a foul for a disconcerting act. A couple of years ago, that used to be unsportsmanlike, but remember they changed the rule a few years ago. I believe it's 719 is what it is. So disconcerting act, that is a dead ball foul. We don't want this ball to go live. So that's a dead ball foul. We'll kill it. It's a 5-yard penalty. And you see it won't give them a first. It'll move them 5, but it'll remain fourth down. It'll end up punting. But again, umpires, just be very mindful. Stuff like that. When they're doing this, all they're trying to do is just get a free 5 yards, back them up penalty. So let's make sure we catch this. We don't allow it. Again, if he doesn't, they don't jump, and the play goes off as normal. Maybe we can talk to him and tell him don't do that again. But when they do it and it causes the offense to false start like that, we've got to shut that down. We've got to have good communication. You'll see here, we have it right there. Referee, heck, he's getting ready to call false start. He gets halfway through. Umpire stops him. Talk about it. Tell him they can't do it. He knows what he did. So you see, instead we go dead ball, disconcerting act, which again is the signal's kind of one head behind the head. It was the old equipment violation signal. That's what that is. 5 yards. We'll move them up. We'll replay fourth down. So good catch there by the umpire. And let's make sure if we hear that happening, again, coaches always say it's happening every play, this, that, and the other. But when it does actually happen, let's communicate. Make sure we shut it down and put the foul on the correct team. All right, let's talk real quick on this play about punt mechanics. Go over them again. Remember, if we're on the defensive side of the 50, especially if we creeping up to about the 40. Remember, deeps, we want to be on the goal line. 6-man, 7-man, doesn't matter. We want to be on the goal line. And double in this case, this punter's pretty good. This punter's about to let one loose is pretty good. And I'll just let it play through and kind of show you why it's just easier to start on the goal line. And we let it go through. Bam, bounces around. And we are real tight. We're working back like we need to, but man, we are. That got real tight there for a second. But point being, if we start on the goal line, this is nothing. All we do is stand there and officiate it. We've got no reason to move. And again, if we're not moving, our head's still, and we can stay calm and make a lot better decisions. We get the call right here. Put him down close to the goal line. He didn't go in there. We don't have a safety or a touchback or anything like that. But just as a reminder, remember, this side of the 50, good kicker, whatever it is, even though they're starting at the 10, we need to start on the goal line. That way we, just like the guys on the line, we start behind the play, we officiate, we let it come to us. Remember, the goal line is the most important. Goal line is the most important line. And so if we're just standing there, if we're right here, right now, if we're standing right here when all this is going on, it's just easy. We see what we got. We go in there, we kill it, we sell it, and we move on from there. So again, just talk about that pregame. Make sure every kick, hey, back here at the goal line, whatever it is, communicate it, and we can nail that one every time. All right. Finally, just a reminder about kicking formations. This case, it's late in the game. Got an onside kick. So as you can see, we've got you may not be able to see, but anyway, we've got the wings who have moved up. So this 7-man crew, we got the umpire and the back judge on the kicking team's restraining line. We got the side judge and the field judge on the receiving team's restraining line. We got the head linesman and the line judge on the 45 in between them. So 5 yards in between them. But in this case, we want to talk about the formation. Play out, you'll see everything looks good right here. Getting off the field, we're getting ready. Everybody's getting adjusted. 1, 2, 3. Here's the kicker. We got 4 on this side of the kicker. And now we don't. But remember, in this case, it is not a foul until they kick the ball, because they can call timeout. They can fix it before the play clock expires, whatever. Now, you see we got a foul. And you see we're shutting it down. Referee blowing the whistle. Our umpire up here, he's got a flag. Back judge got a flag. We're killing it. That was a pretty easy one to see. Sometimes it gets crazy when they start running at the last second. In this case, make sure, I just want to remind you, when we do get only 3 on the side of kicker, don't blow it dead immediately. Wait till they kick it. In this case, let them roll with it, and right there, now we're dead. You see there's a kicker, 3 on that side. Go ahead and kill it, back them up 5 yards, and go from there. So just wanted to, don't always get it on film, but this is a good view of it. So I want to go ahead and show it to you, and just remind you of those rules there. All right, that's it for this week. Guys, keep working hard, keep learning, keep getting that experience. It's more valuable than anything you can have. So keep it up. Appreciate everybody. Appreciate everybody working. Thank your families for allowing you to do this. And above all, stay safe.